Okay, so here we are. And as usual, I'm going to walk you through the whole thing, explain what's going on along the way, and show you why all these things are important. And what I particularly want you to take away from this is that when it comes to explosions, the input really, really matters. It's a garbage in, garbage out kind of scenario where the explosion's effect is completely dependent on what is exploding. And in our case, that means what are we adding into our system? We're adding fuel and temperature. These two things are going to combine to create our explosion. But like the blockiness of our fuel, how much temperature there is, how long we're adding it in, all these things are going to have huge effects on our end result. So I've been setting up, as usual, the pig head that I think is great. I'm putting down the fluid source. It's gonna be called a density volume, but we're actually gonna add these to the simulation as fuel and temperature. We're not gonna add in any sort of velocity. Well, we will probably add in velocity from a particle system later, but we're not adding any density into the mixture at all. We're gonna just add in fuel, and we're gonna add in temperature, and that's gonna create our fire, which is gonna create our smoke. We're not just adding the smoke in itself, as you'll see. So here I am on the noise parameters, as we've seen before. It's animated, so this is kind of a slow animation here. I think that I'd like to speed this up. If it's more jumpy like this, we're gonna have things exploding all over the place. I think that'll look a lot better. Let's just mess with some of this stuff here too. I would say we could get this to be pretty sharp. We could get this to be probably a lot grainier. It's not bad. Amplitude 2 will be nice. That way we have some areas with a lot more fuel and a lot less, and those gaps between it will be nice to break up our shapes. Speaking of which, breaking up, I'll move the turbulence up to 4, but I want to make this a lot smaller. Here we go. So now we got this really super jagged, crazy thing. You also see I put the cell influence up. Without it, it kind of looks like this, and that's not bad, but this is so much more extreme, much sharper shapes. That'll be nice for when they're combusting. So there it is. This is our fuel and temperature source. We're actually going to use it for both. And then where they cohabitate in our simulation, when it says, oh, we have fuel here and we have temperature over a certain amount, as you'll see, create fire, create smoke, do that combustion chain reaction. Okay, so we got a fine looking source now, as you can see. Now let's make it look a little bit finer. I'm gonna go to up here maybe. I'm gonna control click on distant light. Great, and then we'll just go back into our perspective camera. And so now we actually have a little bit of shadowing. We get a little better sense of the volume of it. Now what else do we want to do? I'm going to want to set up a camera itself. So let's say we zoom out, because this is going to be the part that explodes. So I figure I'll zoom out to here and it can have a lot of room to travel up. So I'll control click on camera now. Maybe lock here. We can move this around later, but that's probably enough. We're going to want to make our actual .NET itself to do the simulation.